We arrived here just 1 year before the eradication happened on most of the motu. Before the rats were removed and before the ants were removed, we could see rats eating eggs, ants attacking chicks, especially the chicks of noddies.
As a researcher, you're documenting the impacts that invasive species is having, and you can show, look at the effect it's having, it's so terrible, and people always ask you, well, how are you going to get rid of it, And most of the time, you're like, well, we aren't going to get rid of it. But on islands, there is something we can do about it, because islands are small, and we can actually enact conservation actions that work. And so part of the reason that I wanted to come here and shift my focus to here is to have that feeling like, like you're having a positive impact. You're not just documenting declines. Here I can, contribute to programs that are actually trying to bring things back. And so that's been really rewarding.
Here, the seabirds tend to be nesting continuously, so there's birds all the time, basically. There are peaks and downs, but there's always birds. That means we really need to be there very frequently. So we're there every 3 months to do a full atoll-wide seabird count.
We actually have 35 kilometers that we walk where we actually count how many seabirds we see in every 100-meter stretch. And so that gives us an idea of the abundance of each species. We also mark down what stage it's at, whether it's an egg or a chick or an adult on a nest, and we figure out what tree species it's using. So in addition to just counting how many seabirds we have in all the different areas, we also actually put cameras on the nests and we measure the survival rate of the eggs and of the chicks. We had areas where we would only count a single bird, like on nest, and that nest would be eaten by rats. To this year, on one of those same motu, we would count 30 nests. By restoring these seabird populations, we're actually restoring the whole ecosystem. What used to be a very barren ecosystem of only bare sand becomes alive because of the poop that seabirds bring. And that poop not only fertilizes the plant growth, but it also runs off into the ocean, and it allows the corals to grow better, it allows the fish to grow better, and it helps the corals survive things like coral bleaching events. And so the atoll cannot survive without living, healthy coral. And so by bringing seabirds back, we're supporting that whole system, including the coral, and including the health of all the land around us as well.
Our ultimate goal is probably something we envision happening in a few decades, because it's going to take a while for the seabirds to fully recover. But the ultimate goal is really to have at least a few islets of these atoll that are at a full ecological equilibrium, a good balance with a proper vegetation, a high density of seabirds, and a high density of crabs, which will mean a very good and healthy reef around that will be more resilient to the sea level rise, that will help the atoll in general to stay afloat.